What's up everyone, it's your girl Mick here. Today I'm going to show you how I do my everyday makeup routine looking like this to this. So if you want to see my go-to look, just keep on watching. I start off by using the Smashbox Photo Finish Foundation Primer. This helps my makeup last longer and minimizes the look of pores. Make sure that your face is clean and moisturized before you do this. And then I just apply it to the center of my face, focusing on the areas that have the largest pores, making sure that I have a smooth base before I put on my foundation. And for my foundation, I'm using the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte in the shade 104. I apply the foundation onto my cheek and chin first because I find that this sets pretty quickly, so I like to work in sections. Gotta make sure I blended down my 8 chins. Don't lie, y'all make weird faces in the mirror too. And then for concealer, I use the Maybelline Master Conceal in the shade 20 Light. Aside from using it to highlight my chin and forehead, I also use it to cover up my dark circles. I get like zero sleep since I spend most of my time just binge watching anime and other TV shows and stuff like that, so yeah, I have no life. Whatever concealer I have left on my fingers, I just put it onto the sponge. To set my concealer, I'm using the Wet n Wild Megaglo contouring palette in the shade Dulche de Leche. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but okay. And before I set the other eye, I just take my sponge again and blend it out. That way I make sure that there's no creasing. And then I use that same powder to set the other places where I put my concealer, so my forehead and the sides of my mouth as well as my chin. To set the rest of my face, I use the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless powder in the shade 220 Natural Beige. As I'm editing this right now, I just realized how often I dip the brush into the pan, or like into the powder. I guess like part of me thinks the more times I dip into the powder, the less oily I get, but like, yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. At this point, I put on a little bit of Vaseline just to prep my lips and moisturize them a little. And then I go back in with the Wet n Wild contouring palette in the darker shade this time, just to bronze up my face and contour it, because without this step I look like an egg. Yep. So I just put this on the hollows of my cheeks, my jawline, my 5-head of course, and as well as my nose, but I go in with a smaller brush for that. Here's the smaller brush I was telling you about, so I just go on about giving a little shape to my nose. And then I use a different brush to apply the lighter powder down the bridge of my nose and my brow bone. And I use the same brush to go in with the Maybelline powder and put it on the sides of my nose where it creases. And for eyeshadow, I go in with this Bourjois matte eyeshadow. Clearly I've hit pan and I use this all the time. So I just go in with that same brush that I used to contour my nose with and blend it out on my eyelids. I focus it on my crease to give my eyes a little more dimension. And then I go in with a smaller fluffy blending brush with the same powder that I use to contour my face, and I kind of, I guess, contour my eyelids, if that makes any sense. And for my lips, I'm using the Milani Colorstatement lip liner in the shade 09. I'm not exactly sure what the shade is actually called, but I know that it's 09. And so I just apply this on the outer rim of my lips and blend it out with my finger. For eyeliner, I'm just using this NYX brow pencil in the shade 902 Brown. I know it's meant for your eyebrows, but I find that using liquid liner or even black liner on me kind of looks a little too harsh, and so I like to just use this as my eyeliner. Now for the brows, I'm using this EB Advanced Eyebrow Powder, going in with the top left brown shade using this eyebrow brush with a spoolie on one end and a brush on the other. My mom actually got this brow powder from the Philippines, so if you live anywhere else that's not the Philippines, then I have no idea where to get it from, I'm so sorry. But any other brow powder would work too. And for my non-existent lashes, I use the Maybelline Lash Sensational Fan Effect, I think it is. It's the waterproof version and in the darkest shade. I usually wipe some of the product off, that way I can avoid clumps when I apply this. I usually hold the lash curler in place for about 10 seconds, that way my lashes can actually stay up. Finally, I'm using the Wet n Wild Coloricon blush in the shade 328B Mellow Wine, and I just apply this to the apples of my cheeks and blend it outward. And that's all, folks. Thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it, and thanks for putting up with my weirdness. See you guys next time!